think AI is really the next big thing.
With sports?
Oh, yes, totally.
How?
Well, right now we're redoing our building, and all we're talking about is physical AI. How do we collect data? How do we, with the 3 million people that come into our building, where are they coming from? How old are they? Who are they married to? How long have they had the tickets? What do they like? Where do they eat? What can we do to be anticipatory with our building? It's not just smart buildings anymore. It's build the intelligence and the data right into that experience.
You know, I just want to ask you, Ted, because you were at AOL in the early days. I mean, this is before you were in sports, you were in technology, so you understand the space. Are we in a moment now that is like when AOL brought us the World Wide Web?
Well, I think the leagues, it seems like it's been a long time, but it's been a quick pivot to go from analog and bricks and mortar and linear distribution and local to be a global digital power plant, if you will, that we look at our teams. Obviously, they have high fan avidity, but it's IP. And how do we digitize everything that we're doing from the start and distribute it over our own channels? That's why we bought our RSN. Everyone was running out of the burning house. We said, let's run in. There'll never be a better time to buy and reinvent the distribution model than there is right now.
Gary, I want you to come in on the role of technology. I think all of us, when we're watching sports, I love it, whether it's tennis, whether it's golf, whether it's baseball, the statistics that come up. Hockey. Sorry. I was getting there. Sorry. Well, that's what I wanted to get to, though. Like, you know, how fast the puck is going or something. Like, how much fans love that engagement.
I'm going to respond to that, but I want to add on to what Ted said.
Just so you know, I have 4 brothers, and growing up, we had an ice skating pond that they dug out of the woods in the back and would play hockey.
I knew I liked you and your family. But
you grew up with it.
Sports tends to focus people at an instant, at a moment in time, the score of the game.
Yeah.
What's the result? I don't think we're at a moment of time. I think we're on a journey, and we've been on a journey for decades, and the speed limits change on the road conditions change, there are curves, there are hills, but at the end of the day, it starts with the authenticity of sports and how important sports are in people's lives and how it brings people and communities together. And technology has enabled us to connect better with our fans. So AI, we're like any other consumer business. It's going to help us do business better. But also, it's going to help us make sure that our games stay true to themselves. I always tell, particularly my tech and strategy guys, we're not going to change the game to make it more tech savvy or tech, favorable. What we're going to do is use technology to make the game more consumable, more connected. And so puck and player tracking, NHL Edge, is a function of that. We're gathering millions of data points a minute, but it's enabling us to take people inside the game. Maybe even people who don't know the game and understand it, and let them say, wow, that puck, traveled 14 miles with averaged 88 miles an hour. This player can skate as fast as 35 miles an hour, and he's already skated 6 miles in this game. This gets people to understand and feel more connected, and it's going to let us give them the game on their terms, because with all the streaming platforms, you're going to be able to sit at home and decide how you want to watch the game, not the way we've done it from a linear standpoint since I was a little kid, and people my age are used to sitting on the couch and doing it. But
we used to get in front of my dad and be like, get down, because you couldn't rewind.
But if you're a Gen Z or a Gen A, and you want to focus on a particular player, and you want data simultaneously, and you want to place a bet, you're going to be able to do all that and buy a jersey all at the same time. In addition, what puck and player tracking has enabled us to do is use the metaverse. We use animated versions of our game in real time. We were the first sports league to do that, and it works really well, and it engages young people and their parents.
I'm thinking about all this, and I'm thinking about the technology and thinking about the investment that's being made, and it reminds me of the way that we've seen sports turn into this premium experience now, and the premiumization, this idea of it being a luxury good. And I'm wondering how you think about that, Ted, and how, it's not like you go to the ball. Well, I guess ball games are still affordable, but apart from that, I mean, some tickets just end up being so expensive. How do you think about that for your customers?
Well, many of us have run big public tech companies, and when you come into sports, you say, oh, the model is like a software company. We have nothing but blue chip clients, naming rights, suite sales, big sponsorships, media deals with the biggest companies in the world, Amazon, and NBC, Comcast, and Disney, ESPN, and they pay us over 10 years or longer with escalate. So the model looks just like Salesforce.com or Oracle. Those are very valuable companies. It's why they're valued at a multiple of revenues, not a multiple of EBITDA. Okay, so that's what's happened to sports teams. It's this, we're 6 times, 8 times, 10 times, 12 times revenues.
Right.
But for those of us who came in from public companies and tech companies, I go, we don't have an R&D budget. Think about that. We didn't have a CTO. We were one of the first teams that, we made a major hire. We have software developers. There's like those software developers in these teams. That's a big part of the pivot, right? If you're going to be digitize or die, if you're going to try to get your products and services out and build brand and build audience on a global basis, it all starts with, taking a pixel and digitizing it. And we're now, I've owned the team 26 years, but there's now a lot of the big markets and the more innovative companies that have said, yeah, we're not just a hockey team. You've got to have the hockey team as the ethos, for the competition, for the fans. But as a business, these have become big businesses. We're going to be doing 2 years from now $1 billion in revenue.
You were valued at about $4 billion back in 2023 with the Qatar investment.
We've been valued now close to $7 billion.
It's big growth in 3 years.
Good business.
Yeah.
It's good business.
But we're doing $750 million in revenue.
But the landscape, and it relates to everything that's going on with the distribution of content. No matter what platform you're talking about, live sports is the most compelling, most valuable content. And that's what's driving the values that you're seeing.
Right, because there's so much stuff out there. But you're right. People tune in, right, to see something.
It's reality TV. It really is.
You're right.
But I think one thing that people miss too, the world's in chaos, and it's not going to get more calm. But there's something about you go to a game, and it's the puck's going to drop at 7:06. You know where the game is going to be televised. You know where your seats are. The players know if you make the wrong pass, it's goes over the blue line. They know what penalties are. There's referees, and while there's people boo
Wait,
at the
are you
referees,
saying there's guardrails?
I'm saying that there's structure, right? I was amazed at the World Cup.
Yeah.
You have countries fighting each other, at war with each other, yet they get on the pitch, and I know this line is out of bounds, that this is a boundary. I think we crave that. We want a level playing field, and you want meritocracy, and you want to see how people can compete.
And yet, politics, geopolitics have gotten their way into sports. And I think about the NHL being kind of the most international and Canadian of all U.S. pro sports. And yet, geopolitics, coming from the White House, whether it was over trade and tariff policies, we saw that play out, certainly.
It did during the Four Nations in February when Canada was playing the U.S. in 2 games, including the final game. But what's great about sports, and it transcends geopolitics, because sports brings out people's passion and it brings people together. Even if they're rivals, their common interest in seeing the game and the outcome, and even within a particular country, no matter how diverse a country is, on whatever basis you're figuring out what the diversity is, people come together. It brings communities together. And when you have assets, franchises like Ted has in Washington, they make a difference in people's lives. Their outreach in the community, their youth programs, using sports to teach young people life lessons. That's as important as anything else that we can do in sports. And I think Monumental, what Ted does in Washington, is a great example of being outward-facing in the community and making a difference.
So we helped the White House have the inaugural at our arena.
Yeah.
We were called the world's most important arena. And that same week there was a study out on who is the most popular and best athlete in Washington sports history. And it's a Russian, Alex Ovechkin. Right? He broke Wayne Gretzky's record last year, and he is beloved in Washington, D.C. Yesterday we announced a naming rights deal with Coupang, a South Korean company, e-commerce company. We're global, right? We are exporting our IP around the world. We have these icons, these great global brands. Advertisers want to reach those fans. And so, it's just ironic. Here we are in Washington, D.C. As I said, I can see the White House. And while they're churning on things, sports is the great uniter.
And didn't that poll also say that you were the most popular owner?
Let the record show Ted did not answer the question.
I think you guys need a little
You
podcast.
want to be modest.
It's good to hear that. It's good to hear that sports really kind of brings people together. We do see that over and over.